Hello, I'm Kenneth Kinney, and thank you for joining us on another episode of An Education That Works, where every week Victory University profiles leaders in our community who've gone on to achieve phenomenal success in their careers after earning a college degree. Today's guest falls nothing short of that. For most people, getting a college degree is just the starting point of their careers. And for anyone who's ever wanted to get a degree in law or criminal justice, then today's guest will show you how to get to the top. The Honorable Judge Paula Skahan is a criminal court judge for Shelby County, Tennessee. Judge Skahan began her own career after going through law school and passing the bar by becoming a criminal defense attorney. She then moved on to be an assistant district attorney general and a public defender. After that, she was later appointed to serve for the Shelby County Division I criminal court system by our governor in 2004. I ask you to join Victory University today and the Honorable Judge Paula Skahan on An Education That Works. Welcome back to another An Education That Works. I'm here with the Honorable Judge Paula Skahan, who is a judge with the Shelby County Criminal Court System. And so, Judge, I very much appreciate you joining us on An Education That Works, and I wish if you would tell me a little bit about your background, starting from your college experience to where it got you today.
Okay, well, actually started at the University of Tennessee in Knoxville in 1978. I attended 2 years of school there, and then I transferred to the University of Tennessee at Chattanooga. And while I was attending the University of Tennessee at Chattanooga, I took some courses at Cleveland State University and studied some paralegal courses and became interested in the law. And while I was there, one of the attorneys that was teaching those courses suggested that I go ahead and look into law school. So I did. And after I graduated from the University of Tennessee at Chattanooga, I had applied to law school at several places, and I was accepted at University of Memphis now, Memphis State, back then, Cecil C. Humphrey School of Law, and I decided to come to Memphis to attend law school.
Well, you know, we're sitting here in a courtroom, and you know, I think as much as any place that you'll ever go in, I mean, I think this is indicative of where, if you're sitting in your seat, you can see where education would have benefited a lot of the people that come in. You see a lot of hard luck stories, obviously, that come in.
Definitely.
So if you look back on where your education took you from degree to where you are now, tell me about some of the lessons you've learned along the way and how your college degree helped prepare you for where you sit today.
Okay, well, first of all, you cannot become an attorney or a judge without at least a bachelor's degree and a law degree and passing the bar exam. So first thing, those are very basic. And then to become a judge, you need quite a bit of experience before. I was appointed by Governor Bredesen back in 2004. He selected me out of 14 people who applied for that position. What we had in the state of Tennessee back then was a judicial selection commission, and like I said, 14 of us applied. The selection commission selected 3 of those people to forward the names to the governor, and Governor Bredesen selected me. It was based on my experience. Once I graduated from law school, I went to work for the Shelby County Public Defender's Office. I worked there for 1.5 years, and then I worked for the District Attorney General's office as a prosecutor for 2.5 years, and then I went into private practice. I worked with my youngest brother. He's an attorney here in town. And we gradually worked ourselves up, beginning with theft cases, assault cases, up to murder cases, first-degree murder cases, and ended up trying some of the more notorious capital cases that had taken place in the city. So with that background, Governor Bredesen thought that I had the experience to be a criminal court judge. And then I was elected by the citizens of the county to the position in 2006.
And, you know, when you look back on the choices you made the choice to go to law school.
Correct.
As a pre-law student or as a criminal justice type degree, which one do you sort of favor more, or do you even think of it that way, is towards the path that got you here, if you had to look back that way?
What I tell people who are in college that are asking me what field should I study, it doesn't matter. It really does not matter. If you're interested in criminal justice, if you're interested in English, if you're interested in political science, if you're interested in history, it doesn't matter. Whatever it is your interest is, do the best you can, because those grades are what matters. And if you're a great writer, that's a great background for a lawyer. If you're great with political science, that certainly is a great background. History is a great background. Speaking, communications is a great background. But whatever your interest is, follow it, and somehow it'll fit in with the law. It doesn't. Absolutely. It really doesn't matter.
Crime is a major concern, even here in our community, but even at the national level. Since 9/11 and the passage of the Patriot Act, there's been an exponential growth in the demand for law enforcement and criminal justice professionals to meet the need for us protecting the homeland security. Basically what it is that this country was reawakened to the problem that has been with us just as old as humanity itself, but more so realizing that this country was not prepared the way it should have been to protect us. And at the local level, we see the growing violence and, fear among citizens for their own safety and their properties. In fact, right now, our own state, Tennessee, ranks as #1 in the most violent states in the country. All this underscores the need to train professionals that can meet the demand. Criminal justice itself is the study of the organization and enforcement of law and order. And at the college level, we prepare students for all kinds of professional career opportunities. Most people assume that it is only about police, corrections, and the traditional highway and FBI and CIA. But given the nature of our homeland security apparatus, there are over 500 federal agencies that have a criminal justice component, which expands very, very exponentially the opportunities for graduates of criminal justice programs to work in. And our students need to know that there is a vast and growing demand for them right now. The U.S. Department of Labor, for example, shows a great variety and demand for career criminal justice professionals. So I'm privileged as a professor to prepare students to meet this demand.
I would imagine that whether someone got a history degree or an English degree or a pre-law degree, if they knew the law well and had a passion for it, probably really didn't matter once they got in front of you. If they were a good attorney, that education helped propel them, but it didn't make them.
Exactly. And again, we're talking undergrad.
Sure.
So law school is the same for everybody.
Sure.
And as long as you can do well in law school and pass, and especially pass the bar exam. And the bar exam, is extremely difficult, and as long as you can pass that, and not only pass the bar exam, but not everybody's cut out to be an attorney. So you have to understand that you have to have that aptitude. I mean, we have attorneys that pass the bar exam, but come into a courtroom like this and are too shy
Right.
to come, before the bar, which means just coming through those doors and representing a client in front of a jury. The jury sits right here. We have 14 people, 12 jurors plus 2 alternates, and present their case and argue in front of the jury, as well as in front of me, the legal arguments, and not be afraid to do that. So it takes somebody who has the personality or the willingness to develop themselves into that type of person. I was never that outgoing. I had to really force myself to be able to get up and speak in front of people. It did not come naturally to me at all. And so then I found myself with my brother arguing for a jury not to give somebody the death penalty. And I never ever would have thought I would be able to do that.
Absolutely. Well, I myself as well had worked for a law firm at one time that was very heavily invested as a practice in accounting. And a lot of those attorneys were former CPAs and had that kind of background as well. So there are a lot of obvious different backgrounds that people can have to get involved.
Exactly.
But when you look at either the detectives that come in front of you or the sheriff's deputies or
Right.
officers, how do you think that a degree, as for example, in criminal justice, can help them?
It helps them to understand legal principles. It's not, obviously they're not taught the same way lawyers are taught, but it helps them, first of all, to get a degree, which I think everybody can use more education. First of all, to come into this building and deal with the defendants that we deal with here. So more education, I think, is always a good idea. And then to give them the background of criminal justice, it just makes them better officers, better detectives, because they're going to be trained by the academies with whatever, the sheriff's department, the police department, whatever. It does make them better officers if they do have that background in criminal justice. It really does.
Growing up in an urban area just outside of Chicago, Illinois, I got to witness all types of violence, crime, drug-related activities, robberies, anything of that sort. And with this degree, I want to give back to those that helped me get to this point. And if I can't affect the world and with what I'm doing, then my community is what I'll be satisfied with. With this criminal justice degree, I can pursue a field of law enforcement, FBI, CIA, just anything that would help me make the world a better place. I believe that education is the key to anything. So while I would be able to give back with nothing at all, I feel that a degree opens more doors and many more opportunities for me to help those that need help. I believe the hard part about getting a job would be competing with the others that are applying for the same position. They might be just as smart as I am, but there has to be something that sets me apart that will get me high.
When you look at the way the law has changed, there's new laws, but a lot of the principles have stayed germane and still. But practice has changed, especially for young lawyers. It's a lot different than it is. What do attorneys ask you once they've gotten their degree? Do they have that kind of conversation with you? What do I expect, or is it when they come into the courtroom? Because I think so many attorneys don't know that they're going to get bogged down with a lot of paperwork.
In the criminal area, as far as state court especially, the prosecutors and the defense lawyers don't have that much paperwork. You can see we have a computer system set up over here. Most all of the paperwork that we use is printed out. As far as motion practice, there is some done over here, but compared to federal motion practice, there's not that much. As far as what's expected of young attorneys, some of them will come to me or they'll have a mentor. More when I was in private practice, I was asked those questions. A good some words of advice to young attorneys is get to be friends with the clerks. Courtroom clerks is always a good idea. Make them your friends. Never come in acting like you know more than the clerks. They can make you or break you. Whatever your first job is out of law school, people are watching you. If you're an assistant public defender, if you're an assistant prosecutor, do the very best job you can. Even though you may have in the back of your mind, I'm not going to be doing this for more than a couple of years. Watch yourself. Don't think you're above anything. Because if you go in there and do a shoddy job, no one is going to hire you. No private firm is going to hire you. Same as if you go into the private practice and you think, I'm going to move on to whatever. Watch yourself and do the very best job that you can, because as your career grows, people are noticing.
It's protecting that personal brand.
Exactly.
Well, I often wonder too, mainly because I didn't go to law school, but I think a lot of people's perception of the law is what they've seen in movies and on TV, whether it was To Kill a Mockingbird, Gregory Peck practicing the law the way he did, or a John Grisham book. How far off or how similar is it on a normal basis for a lot of the people that you see before you? How similar is it to what we see in that kind of view?
Well, I think Gregory Peck is the ideal
Sure.
of a great attorney with his ideals. And it's unfortunately not something we see too often. Lawyers that practice like someone in a John Grisham novel, maybe a little bit more similar. Lawyers that you see on TV behaving badly, prosecutors and defense lawyers and judges, at times we do have a lack of civility in the courtroom, and that is something that we do work on. Ideally, we have prosecutors on top of their case who know the case inside and out, that provide exculpatory information to the defense, and we have defense lawyers that know what they're doing and that are zealously defending their clients and aren't using over-the-top antics to gain some type of advantage. And we have judges that are acting to maintain the decorum of the courtroom. But does that always happen? No, it doesn't.
Sure.
We have people that don't always act professionally. So that is something, especially when we have jurors in here, that I'm not always proud of. So I spend a lot of time talking with the jurors and explaining to them what is going on during a trial. And it's not just me, it's other judges that work up here. And afterwards, many of us go back and talk with the jurors and try to answer any questions that they may have about what just took place that week. And I think they appreciate that. And they want to know that their role is very important, and how much we appreciate what they do.
I switched from psychology to criminal justice because once I graduate from college, I'm actually joining the Sheriff Deputy Department for Shelby County, and I feel like any other degree would actually be pointless for me in that field of work, and criminal justice will be a boost to help me in there. I feel like criminal justice will help me get ranked up quicker than someone going in to the field with no college or any type of criminal justice degree at all. Yeah, actually all my life I've liked helping people, not only just my friends, but people that are younger than me and people just that I see on the side of the street. I'm one of the type of people when I pull up and there's a homeless guy standing there, I give them the change I have. It's not a lot, but at least I still like to help. And with the criminal justice degree and me joining the police force, it would help me help other people other than just, the criminals. Basically, like I said earlier, I just want to help people. And me being a police officer, I'll actually be out there more. So if I see it happening, I could stop it.
When you sit where you sit, what kind of advice can you give us as a society, so that we're not having as many people show up on the news and in your courtroom all the time?
That's $1 million question. When we accept guilty pleas, one of the first questions I ask is, how far did you go in school? And the main reason I ask that is to find out if they understand the questions I'm about to ask them about their rights to trial. And it is rare that we have a high school graduate. It is very rare. It's often 9th grade or 10th grade. And if they have an 8th grade or 9th grade education, I ask them, can you read and write? Because most often they cannot. And so if they can't read or write, we have a guilty plea form that they have to go over with their attorney, and the attorneys often don't ask them how far they went in school. So if the attorney's quickly going over with them a guilty plea waiver of rights, and they can't read or write, how much good does that do? So it is very sad. What can we do as a society? Obviously, we need to do as much as we can to keep young people in school, to interest them somehow in understanding how important that education is to their future, to understand that as soon as you get a criminal case, especially a felony charge, and that goes on your record, how difficult it will be to ever obtain a decent job.
Absolutely. You've given $1 million answer, despite the fact that it's a problem that's easier to answer than fix.
If you care about people, if you care about trying to make a difference, and if you have enough intelligence, and believe me, I'm no brainiac, believe me, you can go to law school. You can go to law school, and if you just have the perseverance, you can become what I have become.
Well, that's a nice lofty goal for a lot of us, but you've obviously achieved a lot of that. I often look at judge as part professional counselor because of the role you're in. You went to a state school.
Correct.
To go. If I'm considering pre-law or criminal justice, does it necessarily, does it matter where someone has gone to school to achieve that degree? And I'm going to kind of equate it to technology. Steve Jobs and Bill Gates, if they never walked around a campus in their life, they're going to be fine.
Right.
Those kind of people have a different level than most people in the world. But can a student, for example, enroll at Victory or anywhere else and have a wonderful career in law? And at least from what you're telling me, if you make sure that you work towards what I sort of call an education that works, they can develop that career path.
I think certainly with the prices that private colleges are charging now, it's out of the reach of the average person. I am floored at what people are graduating and having to pay back. I went to public schools as a child. I attended UT Knoxville. I attended UT Chattanooga. I paid my own way. I took out loans as well. I worked. I attended Cleveland State, as I've already stated. I don't think there's anything wrong with small schools as far as Victory University. I don't see anything wrong with that. I think it's the person and the perseverance and the determination that I am going to complete what I started. I am going to do whatever it is, law, become an attorney. I'm going to be a success. I don't care how long it takes. I never would have thought I would be a judge. It just happened that way because I just kept seeing different steps and this is what I want to do. I don't like the way this is going on. And, you know, I could criticize judges that were on the bench, but if I wasn't willing to step up and say, I think I could do this a little bit better, then I need to shut up. So I decided I'd put my hat in the ring, and that's the only way I became a judge. It wasn't something I decided at 5 years old, I'm going to be a judge. It just happened.
Sure. You are the perfect example to me, especially when you talk about where you went to school. You're sitting at the level that everybody wants, that wants to get to your level, and you've achieved a phenomenal amount in your career. I hope that we can do more as a community and more as a university to educate enough people to make the right decisions so they don't ever appear before you. But I do want to thank you very much for being on An Education That Works. And
it's my pleasure. Yes, sir. Thank you.
If you or anyone else you know is looking to attain a law degree, a criminal justice degree, or any degree that'll help them improve their careers, change their life, or change our world, then I urge you to go today to aneducationthatworks.com. On behalf of Victory University, thank you for An Education That Works.
I believe that education is the key to anything. So while I would be able to give back with nothing at all, I feel that a degree opens more doors and many more opportunities for me to help those that need help. I want to give back to those that helped me get to this point. With this criminal justice degree, I can pursue a field of law enforcement, FBI, CIA, just anything that would help me make the world a better place.
Join us this and every Sunday at 8:30 a.m. on Local 24 as leaders in our community discuss the secrets to education and career success. Victory University presents An Education That Works.